you have one of the, and I just mentioned it. You have one of the biggest festivals for women. You know, if you wanted somebody to go deep into what Drake did to her and respect for the black woman, I mean, Ebony Essence, and Serena could have been your cover model. It wasn't that deep.
Yeah. And we're not saying that he didn't do a good job and that it was horrible, but we're just saying there's some things that he could have done to really make it appeal to the masses instead of just song. Because if he done that, I don't know, it might work. It might still do it, but he could have possibly gained a new fan base.
All your food delivery needs, make sure you go to Light Snack, that's LYTE snack.com, and make sure for all of your deliveries, whether it's breakfast, lunch, or dinner, you visit Light Snack and they'll deliver it right to your door. And make sure when you get those deliveries, make sure you're ordering those Magic City wings. And remember, their motto, don't forget to lick the sauce. Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of Not Just Another Sports Show. I am your host, KD. And of course, Not Just Another Sports Show stands for, or No Jazz stands for Not Just Another Sports Show, NOJASS. Our last episode for the 2024-25 football season. Now, before we go any further, I got to introduce you to my co-pilot, my navigator, or pilot, and I navigate sometimes. My main man in the streets, my main man on my left. Always a pleasure to join me. Tank, tell the people what's up.
What's up, people? How y'all feeling? Especially about last night.
Yeah, a lot of people crying. Well, you know what? A lot of people happy, a lot of people crying.
Yeah.
A lot of people happy, a lot of people crying. Oh, and before I go any further, because everyone knows, we got to do this. Make sure you follow us. YouTube, No Jazz Show. Facebook, No Jazz Show. TikTok, No Jazz Show. And Instagram, X No Jazz Show. And Instagram, noj.a.s.s. Make sure you email us at nojazz@gmail.com. Follow, like, share, subscribe. And I want to go in and I want to congratulate our show because we have a new sponsor. Yes. Big time sponsor. Our new sponsor is Allstate Insurance. And they are claiming that if Patrick Mahomes had Allstate instead of State Farm, he wouldn't have had to deal with so much mayhem. Because he was sacked. Was it 5?
6 times, I believe. Yeah.
6. I probably closed my eyes on one of them.
Yeah, I think he was closing his eyes too.
Yeah, he was closing his eyes too. He had not seen that much wreck and havoc placed upon him since 2020?
Yep.
When the Bucs defense and of course the Eagles defense probably watched that same film.
Yep. We're gonna definitely get into that.
And I'm gonna let you get into that because you know what? Great segue. You get into that because you get into that because that's going to be something everyone is talking about in regards to who ends up with the MVP. But go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm thoroughly convinced that they looked at the Tampa Bay Bucs KC Super Bowl and looked at what the defense did, and they said, hey, if those guys can get to him with their defensive line, our defensive line is much better. We can send 4, and we don't have to blitz the whole game. And You keep getting home with 4, and there's 5. You got 5 offensive linemen, and you getting through there with 4 continuously. The pressure and the havoc that they were wrecking was incredible. I thought I was looking at the game. Somebody done some AI and just changed the colors of the uniform.
Absolutely.
Because you got 4 green men coming every play. They weren't getting tired. They were getting more motivated and stronger as the game went on. And they're dropping 7 back, so there's very few passing lanes. Mahomes had 30 yards passing at the end of the first half.
Right. Yeah.
That's not,
and you know what? Not to cut you off, but you always know picks, definitely pick sixes. It's a reward, because I've always said your best DB is your front 4 penetration. The front end has to help the back end, and the back end is doing their job. And the back end's job is easier when the front end does their job. And they put it together. Everything that they wanted as far as that came to fruition with those draft picks.
Yeah.
The 2 young defensive tackles. It all came together last night. But go ahead and finish what you were saying, Tank.
I mean, it was continuous pressure, and that's the thing that we talk about, or the people know, if they know football or not. The game is won and lost in the trenches.
Absolutely.
I almost said Tampa's line. Billy's defensive line whooped up on KC's offensive line terribly. I mean, they beat them so bad, it makes you wonder, hey, was everybody hurt, or how did they get this far? Because they would dominate. They didn't have anybody they could double team. When you got 4 guys rushing, but you got 5 offensive linemen, there's no reason why they should be getting through every time. Mahomes was running for his life. And he does the belly out, comes right back, and when he bellies out and comes back, it's somebody right there waiting. They also were very disciplined in their lanes as far as stopping anything. They one-dimensional. They didn't even run the ball. The only running you really saw was Mahomes, and he was running for his life.
Yeah, running for his life.
And I know some people saying, "Oh, they finna cheat for the Chiefs," and there was no cheating going on. I mean, and I like the fact that they did let him play, and he was getting smacked, and he wasn't getting smacked late. It was as soon as he was just trying to throw the ball and get rid of it. And you saw how rattled he was, and people always act like it's some revelation. Hey, if you put pressure on the quarterback, it's gonna be hard for him to throw. They don't like pressure in their face. That goes for every quarterback. There's no quarterback who just excels when he's getting harassed. You got some who are able to get rid of the ball time, but nobody wants to be doing this all the time. And there was nobody open.
That's why I don't like the notion of, if he had protection, then, he can be this, that, and the third. Any NFL quarterback, when they have protection, can pretty much chop you up. And in that same note, as you said, there are some who just do better with the protection, and those who do better with the protection usually are the ones who do better when you don't have the protection. So, this is pretty much just the science of football, and there's only so much Mahomes could do. And I'm gonna get back to your point that you were making in regards to this year. Were they ready? And it's sort of, what was it, 21, and now maybe 20?
Yeah.
So we're talking 62 games. 62 games. Every NFL team, even the Eagles themselves, they've had they didn't have a long run last year. They had a long run the year before in that Super Bowl, but they didn't have a long run last year. But it does remind you, and I'm going to cross reference, but I'm not going to cross into, but it does remind you of any league when you come upon that three-peat. You meet the younger and hungrier team that has not had to deal with the back-to-back and going for the 3, and it can be a lopsided venture for you. It can be a lopsided adventure for you. That's why I don't knock what happened too much, because that was definitely a long journey, and that was a long journey for them, with the understanding that we need this bye week. That's what's going to work the best for us.
Yeah.
We need to be, what was it, 14-3?
Yeah, we need to have that 1 seed.
We need to have the 1 seed. So they did what they could do as far as the mentality is concerned to repeat, because we probably would have seen this if they would have been going through a 11-6 season, having to play every week in the playoffs, and because 11-6 would mean that you're dealing with some situations that are not allowing you to win these games. So, shout out to Kansas City. I mean, that's a long journey.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no excuses no one should be making any excuses or this, that, and other. I mean, you remember the first show we did when we did picks preseason before the season started, I said Philadelphia,
right?
Would win. And I mean, Philadelphia had the best team, man for man, with the exception, even though it didn't show last night, with the exception of quarterback and with the exception of tight end. And again, it didn't show last night. Kelsey looked old and tired last night. Like, he was stuck in quicksand, couldn't get open. It's like at the end of the game, the garbage yards, or like to call them.
Oh, empty
calories.
You know, it was 44-20 for Las Vegas purposes.
Yeah.
But it was like, what, 40-3?
Yeah, they had them 30-0 at first. 30-0. I was like
the game was pretty much over a long time ago. It was just we've seen comebacks, and you had the type of team, type of coach, the type of quarterback, definitely, that was not going to allow you as a football fan to just put them out of it. But the inevitable was there. There was a point that someone made about Tom Brady, who was at the game, and he is again responsible for a postseason loss for Patrick Mahomes. He needs to stay away from the stadium, and Patrick Mahomes wants to win the game. But at any rate, let's get into this. Since we're speaking on Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady, we're going to segue into not even 30, 3-2. You spoke of 3-2 versus 4-1. What does this do to his legacy moving forward?
First off, he's 3-2 in Super Bowls, and at the same point in his career, Tom Brady was also 3-2. So he's still ahead of pace for beating Brady, for catching and passing Brady.
If you want to get, is he a little younger?
Yeah, Brady was in his 30s.
He had already reached his 30s, right?
Yeah, and Mahomes is 28, 29. It's like I said, it's crazy. 3-2 makes it seem like, man, he just barely getting through there. It's not, man, he made it to 5 Super Bowls. It's like, dang, 3-2, you barely over 500. Is what it.
Yeah.
When you look at it,
I think Magic Johnson he has 5 championships. I think he spent a while. He ended up at 3-2 in the finals at one point in his career, and then shifted ahead a little bit, and then at the end, of course, I had to take that loss in the 90s. But he suffered through that, so you can make it. It just looks close.
Yeah, it looks 4-1, 3-2 looks a world of difference, and it's crazy because you hear people talking about now, oh, he's overrated or this, that, and other, and there's nothing overrated about Mahomes. He's done everything that he's done because he's that caliber of quarterback, and he's done it last year and this year. He did it without real weapons other than Kelsey. But they were so much Philly was, I gotta give them credit for this. Philly, unlike a lot of teams, they got up on them and they kept the feet to the fire. They didn't relax, and all of a sudden you in a dog fight because you just went to prevent and your offense stopped working, your defense stopped working.
They got a little conservative to a degree in
just
the
a
third
little.
quarter, but they kept the gas.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it was conservative so much as to we know we can now go to the run game, and Kansas City was just well prepared, to shut down Saquon Barkley for the evening.
Yeah, but 3-2. I mean, I don't think you can really talk about Mahomes' legacy yet because he's still barring staying healthy and not retiring, anytime soon. He's still got plenty of time left. But I think at this point, if he were to retire, he does go down as one of the best to ever play the position. And
sometimes you got to speak of people that are 28, 29 years old, and when you're speaking of their legacy already at 28, 29 years old, you kind of got to speak of them in the tense of not necessarily retiring. So I'm going to say this for him: if he decides to go on and play baseball, we have to give this young man respect for his athleticism and his ability to probably move into the Major League Baseball, get his reps in, probably as a pitcher. And I'm just saying, hypothetically, if he decided to forego the next season, go into the next off season, and be prepared by the spring, we're still talking about a guy, peak performer at 30 years old, AAA ball, trying to get to the major leagues. So that's just a phenomenal feat for an athlete to cross over like that. So I'm not going to necessarily say retire for this young man because he still has a lot of sport left in his body.
And the fact that this man, other than his rookie year, because he only started one game, he has been to the conference championship and or the Super Bowl every year that he started. His entire career has been, he hasn't played less than a Super Bowl or less than a conference championship in his career. I mean, so that's all he knows is, playing in the big game or playing in the game before the big game.
The gift and the curse of that is like,
the
context is you're going to have to tally him as the whole, stats during the year, your MVPs, your conference championships, and your Super Bowls. Then there is going to be fandom who we're going to come across. Somebody, maybe a rookie will come along. Let's just say Daniels or somebody, or Burrow may catch fire. Somebody's going to come along and have a sprout. And then you're only going to be comparing Super Bowls.
Yeah, it's
the gift and the curse of
yeah. And he has not only regular season wins, not only postseason wins, but Super Bowl wins. I don't think that, for me, it didn't knock him down at all for me. He didn't have a good game at all. He had a horrible game. But
he had a horrible game. He had a horrible game in the midst of a three-peat.
Yeah.
And been in the Super Bowl 4 times straight.
Yeah, well, the third straight Super Bowl. So, I mean, you can't.
Super Bowls, having missed one before. Yeah, exactly. Come on now.
I mean, it does not, for me, it doesn't do anything to him as far as how you talk about him. He's for me, he's not knocked down a peg, because who else in the league is even close to doing that? What other quarterback has 2 Super Bowl wins?
What other player in any position? Like you can usually find you a Yeoman Johnson or a journeyman that has gone from team to team, and been in that position, but there's not even one.
Yeah. So he's still the best quarterback in the game, and now he's played the way the team was constructed. He was Superman the whole time earlier, Now he's the past 2 years, particularly since they lost Tyreek Hill, he's been Superman when they needed it. He hasn't had the stats, the yards and the touchdown that we saw early on, but he hasn't needed to do that. He's learned how to play with what he has. He doesn't have those type of weapons. Therefore, he's not trying to do all that.
That's actually a very valid point, because now for Kansas City, let's move to another chapter. Let's allow Patrick Mahomes to coast into prolific game manager mode, and find him a running back or a wide receiver,
a real one
that takes over the game and allows him to kind of coast, and that's still Patrick Mahomes.
He's done well, and on the other side, you can look at what it was done for Jalen Hurts.
Let me tell you, do we want to go in there yet? Since you said it, let's go into that pocket. What it's done for Jalen Hurts is, I don't know what Jalen Hurts. This is just my opinion. I don't know what Jalen Hurts is going to do moving forward. But Jalen Hurts being a second-round pick, let's look at the resume. Jalen Hurts is now alongside these names, Joe Montana and Joe Namath, as starting quarterbacks for a national championship team that have also won Super Bowls. Those are some legendary names, and I'm not talking about what Joe Namath did statistically. Yeah. I'm just saying legendary names. So now you're sitting in a situation to where, who'd you beat? All right, Joe Namath. The prediction, he has his moment. Moving forward, Jalen Hurts, redemption, having lost to Mahomes. You came back and beat Mahomes. You have an MVP to go with it. You're a second-round pick. You were pretty much told you couldn't start in the NFL for the most part. Then let's look at your peers around you. Number one, you beat Patrick Mahomes, the nemesis for whom, like we call him. He just beats everybody. You defeated the guy that 2 MVPs and a double MVP can't defeat right now. Then let's go to Dak Prescott. Longer career than you, but this is the highest paid quarterback in the league. Look at me. So in your vacuum, we're not talking Hall of Fame, but in your vacuum right now, you can sit back and relax, because Joe Burrow, I don't think Jalen Hurts is still going to get his respect, because the names are just too prolific. But I can sit back and relax and let you all say what you want about me, because everybody around me hadn't beat the guy I beat, and I faced him twice in 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, and not only that, did he face him in 2 Super Bowls, but he outplayed him in both Super Bowls.
2 Super Bowls. He really absolutely outplayed him in 2 Super Bowls.
He outplayed him in both. Yeah. And yesterday he was a tremendous game manager yesterday. He wasn't prolific. He just did, and things kept churning, and the fact that they kept, they used Barkley. And the smart thing was they kept giving the ball to Barkley, even though he wasn't breaking anything. But it had them concerned with stopping him. Hey, Jalen, you're gonna have to beat us. And Jalen did enough to beat them. He hit Smith a couple times. He hit Goddard a couple of times. Yeah. He went to Brown a few times.
Yeah.
He threw some passes, completed a few passes to Saquon. He did what he did. Yeah, he did what he needed to do. He didn't play outside of what they asked him to do. He didn't go and say, "Well, I'm finna air it out." He didn't do that. He ran when he needed to. He was effective when he ran. He was effective throwing the ball. He made good decisions. And those guys, they believe him.
He'll lead him.
Yeah, I mean, you can't fault him. And like you said, redemption. You remember earlier this season, after one game, he said this is the most that I've ever heard him say
Oh,
to
that's
be
what y'all
like,
want to see?
hey, I could play. Yeah, is that what y'all wanted to see? I mean, but even after the game, I think he was relieved and sort of in awe. And I think it was still setting in, hey, you won the Super Bowl. You just won it. And when he threw that second touchdown, I said, okay, he's going to be the MVP, because the MVP could have gone to somebody on their defense. But when in doubt, the winning quarterback gets the Super Bowl MVP. And he was,
Yeah. Ty go to the quarterback.
yeah. So I think for where he's cemented right now, I think there's still some question marks. People are going to have some question marks, but you can't take away what he's done.
17 of 22, 221 yards, two TDs passing, one interception, one TD rushing,
And 72 yards rushing.
and 72
He
yards.
did it.
It's
He
very
did
very
what they
difficult
needed.
to pinpoint, even though you could have to pinpoint a guy on defense to go to Disney World. But when you have the guy with stats like that.
Yeah, I was impressed with him. A couple of times he looked, like, okay, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna have the yips? He didn't have the yips yesterday. He played well. Philly played a great game. They played a great game.
Complete.
And nothing that they did that KC did as far as keeping Barkley in check, it did not cause them to deter from what they wanted to do. Oh man, the running game not working. We're gonna have to start airing it out. No, we're gonna keep giving them the ball. You're gonna pick up 2 or 3 yards, and they were gonna wear them out. I mean, sometimes you got to go 3 yards in a cloud of dust, or in this case, 3 yards in a cloud of AstroTurf. But I mean, it was a complete victory. It reminded me of Tampa and it started to look like Tampa when they beat the Raiders, because they were coming out, because they started getting those picks.
48-21.
Yeah, when they started getting those picks.
I was looking at that. Yeah, that was definitely something, man. They were very dominant. They were very dominant. What they did on defense made it easier for, you know what? And that ball control did give them. They had a lot of ball control, clock management. Gave them a lot of
defense
time
fresh
to keep the defense breathing and fresh. And in that, I said my guy was going to have a game. I said it, and I just kind of want to point this out since I'm doing the roundup. Devontae Smith. Now you become the 5th man in the history of the NFL, the history of football, to win a Heisman Trophy, a national championship, and the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And I have to say the names: Tony Dorsett, Marcus Allen, Charles Woodson, and Reggie Bush. See, even Reggie realizes my name will still go on, even though my career wasn't, all of that. I can still sit back on what I did in college, and my name rings, and then I can say this as far as what happened for me in the NFL. And Smith has the opportunity to do that as well with what he accomplished, because that is a 59 Super Bowls.
Yep.
Only 5.
And
most of those 5 are Marvin.
Desmond Howard just missed it.
Desmond Howard is in the group of the Wentz. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely
Smith has got to be.
You know what? Hold on. No. Tim Brown didn't win a national championship, did he?
Oh hell no! That team was horrible. No, Dane was horrible then.
Yeah, they were horrible. Okay. He's a Heisman Trophy Super Bowl
participant.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, but but it's just Smith, one of the least remembered Heisman Trophy winners we've had over the past decade. because you don't think of him when they say Heisman Trophy. You don't think of Smith. I don't.
It's a lot of them. It's a lot of the Heisman kind of fell because if it wasn't for Derrick Henry rushing for a lot of yards, I kind of would forget he won it.
Yeah.
Did Ingram win it?
Yeah.
See,
it's just you don't think
it just
about
lost its luster.
Yeah, you just don't think about Smith. He won. That's right, he did win it. Or you start thinking about him. Even in Philly, you start thinking, what's that dude name? The Sunday dude, the receiver. He went to Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody tell you, yeah, him. But you just don't think of him. But he's a very good player, and he could be a one if they didn't have Brown there.
You know what his issue is too. Even in college, he played big in the shadows of big.
Somebody else did.
These guys had to leave. Who was that? Judy,
Ruggs,
Waddle,
Ruggs.
These guys got to leave, and then you see who he is.
Yeah.
And then he leaves, and you're thinking that the young man that's there now is going to be bigger than all of them. So, shout out to him, because I get to go back to Alabama in this current age and wave my ring in everybody's face.
Right.
Everybody's face.
I think that
amongst these names.
Yeah, I know with the Chiefs again, everybody's right. People, it's like they quick to want to write them off now, but
D-Hop,
you got to well, I'm talking the Chiefs and them, but D-Hop, it's time for him to, as Chuck Noll used to say, it's time for him to get on with his life's work.
It's that was okay. Someone's gonna hear this wrong because I'm not comparing him, but he definitely has a area in the NFL just like this man where he was the most dominant receiver in the NFL for at least 2 years. Everybody kind of has that pocket, and it kind of does remind you of the Randy Moss.
Frisco. Yeah.
This is your opportunity to either win in the back seat or have a storybook ending. The moment he calmed down, but the moment seemed a little too big because he tripped over his own feet on his first reception. And it could have been a momentum changer at that point in the game too. Like they weren't necessarily out of it, but that was like a 3rd and 14. It was a wide open pass. It would have got them the first down, and it might have just did something for the momentum. He trips over his feet, falls.
Yeah, the game reminded me of the Super Bowls from the 80s and the early 90s when the NFC was just blowing the AFC out. I mean, it was at 30-0. Everybody knew it was over. Mahomes knew it was over. Kelsey knew it was over. Reed knew it was over. Because, okay, if we score, we still haven't been able to stop them or get them off the field. It's like we happened to score, but shoot, they had to work for that. And they weren't even able to, how they always run these crazy plays that you're like, man, did you see that? They couldn't even do any of that last night.
That was a lot of lateral speed they had to deal with. Like,
yeah,
great catch, by the way. By the young man, a little too late. Worthy, it was a great catch. Yeah, I'll give him that. On one of those only Mahomes prayers.
Yeah.
I want to go back and look at what you said for a second. Because now I got to go back. When I look at those blowouts, Buffalo had 4 straight appearances, but I wonder how many people give them the credit for making those long journeys.
Yeah, you got to give them credit for it because
20 games.
Yeah.
And I get blowed out in the Super Bowl. 20 game. See, who was going before them?
Before that, the Raiders. Well, the Raiders were the exception. Washington blew out Denver.
Denver was back to backing.
Yeah, Denver got blown out 3 times.
So they're making long trips.
The Giants blew them out. The Bears blew out the Patriots.
Yeah.
The the 49ers blew out the Dolphins. The 49ers blew out Denver again.
Yeah, blew out Denver again. And
uh,
then Washington blew out Denver.
Washington blew them out.
In 87.
Then you had Dallas blew out Dallas, and Washington all blew out the Bills.
All blew out the Bills, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was too. You remember for a while they were like, why does the NFC even? Why does the AFC even show up?
And you know what? So theoretically, what we need, because now I'm looking at it, there was only one dominant team in the AFC making all those long trips in the playoffs. Denver eventually said, we can't handle this, and Buffalo took over. And I'm pretty sure if you look back in history, Denver was probably teeter-tottering in the AFC championship games and losing here or there to someone that sneaks in, but they was pretty much always in there. So now you see Kansas City, on the flip side, get in there and do the same thing. And
haven't had KC hasn't had a dominant Super Bowl. And the thing that was going to be interesting, if they had won, Mahomes' 4 Super Bowls victories would have been over 2 teams, Frisco twice and Philly twice.
Swapping in and out.
Yeah.
And let's look at you have the in-between guys of the Patriots run. The Patriots are always, but the in-between guys in there are Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh got Pittsburgh 2. The Giants got 2.
Yeah. So it's like Atlanta kind of gets in there, could have got one, but it's like they were pretty much dominant, always going to the championships, and then Indianapolis sneaking in there, Pittsburgh sneaking in there. Did San Diego sneak in there one time?
Yeah, they stuck in and got dragged by Frisco.
They snuck in and got dragged by Frisco.
Stan Humphries is a name that you should not hear and should not be mentioned as a Super Bowl starting quarterback, but he was. That tells you why, one of the reasons why San Diego lost. Stan Humphries.
Stan Humphries is a starting quarterback because Tomlinson was back there, right?
No, this was the 94 Super Bowl.
Who was the running back?
That was Natron Means.
Had a great season.
Yeah,
he had an Icky Woods run.
Yep. I mean, some of these quarterbacks you've seen have gone and they had it, either they lost or they won, but some of these quarterbacks would never be remembered if they hadn't either won a Super Bowl or played in a Super Bowl. Brad Johnson, we wouldn't think of him if he hadn't won a Super Bowl with Tampa.
But let's not get too deep. Let's not get too deep into that. And remember where we are with the status of Kelsey.
He said he wants to play again, but he's getting to the point now where you want to rest him you want to do a load management. You want to rest him in the regular season and hopefully get something out of him in the postseason.
So you need to draft his predecessor.
Yeah, you need to get another tight end.
And you know what they say, it's all about the offseason, and if you feel like going through the regimen, go through the season again, even with the load management. Do you think he wants to take the journey in what would be his 9th year?
I think this game left a bitter taste in his mouth and a bitter taste in Mahomes' mouth, and they want to come back and show something. But I don't think they're going to get back next year because they got to address their offensive line yet again, because Philly's, barring injury or the Super Bowl hangover, Philly is going to be making noise again next year. And you've also got other teams in the AFC that are young and hungry, and they say, wait a minute, the blueprint, why didn't we think of it? The blueprint is just to get pressure on Mahomes. if we can do that, because they don't have those caliber players anymore. That if we don't
when
get there,
you don't have a line, get pressure on Mahomes, right?
yeah. And before, because with Hill and some of the other guys, if you got pressure to Mahomes, he could flip it to one of them and make something happen. He doesn't have any of those guys now. We really don't know what Worthy is going to be. I mean, he's fast, but we don't know how he's going to develop. If he's just going to be a guy that can run deep routes, or is he going to be an all around receiver?
I don't think Philly built like that. I think I've watched Philly, and we're gonna go make a journey, and then we're gonna be injured next year.
Yeah. Only thing about Philly is they do, for a team that wins consistently like they do, they have turnover. They will fire a coach in a heartbeat. Man, it's been 3 years. Yeah, it's been 2 or 3 years since we've been to the Super Bowl. I think it's time for us to go ahead and change the coach out. Doug Peterson, I mean, usually a Super Bowl win will buy you 5 years. They didn't go, and they like, man,
Some
we don't like the way.
Conference championship win will buy you 5 years.
Yeah, they like, hey, Doug, you got to go. Well, it's been a couple of years. We ain't won another Super Bowl, so we got to get rid of it. But it's not, at the same time, it's not like Philly has been a team that's been winning Super Bowls. This is only the second Super Bowl in the franchise history. But if you didn't know any better, listening to their fans and how they think, you would think they got multiple. You think they've got like 4 or 5 Super Bowls.
It's hard to talk about them now that they have 2.
Yeah,
sitting on that lowly one, but they did used to go back to prior to the Super Bowl era and count those 2 or 3 they had. No one counts that. And now I think they'll get to the Super Bowl era and feel good about it as it gets further and further along, and we kind of get tired of hearing that and Gilly doing the dance. I think those of us in the NFC East will remind them that you're still at the bottom. Let's not forget that it's 5, 3, 3. No, 5, 4, 3.
4 and 3.
5, 4, 3, 2. Calm down.
What does it do for Sirianni? Where is he now? Where do you rank him now? Because remember, he's
still Peterson.
Yeah, because he was, they were like, hey, Sirianni, he's a little wacko. We don't know if he's gonna make it.
He's gonna get another year, maybe 2, but he's still in Philadelphia. You got to understand, like, the only man they allowed, it's only 2. Well, no. How long did they give Buddy Ryan?
Like 5. But they never even won a playoff game.
Andy Reid was staying as long as he was staying because he had those conference championship appearances and some Super Bowls. But let Andy Reid, fall off. We're gonna clip you. I think Sirianni probably may go through some injuries next year, and the people there and what they expect. He's gonna go back to being that personality that he is, and they're gonna start putting him on the chopping block, because let's not forget, the Giants really are one draft pick away. Washington, we see what's going on, and maybe they can do the magic again. Cowboys are going to cowboy, but at the end of the day, even though we still have Dak Prescott, just like I was telling somebody at the Super Bowl party, he beats the NFC. And I say that to say, if Dak beats people in the NFC East, we may not do anything, but Dak still could be your playoff killer. We got to understand, if Dak is not injured, Dak probably beats Philly once or twice, and that seed goes down. Washington can't beat him, or he takes one of them. So it's a lot of stuff going on to where.
Plus they're losing out. Plus Philly's losing Kellen Moore, their OC.
They're gonna lose. They're gonna lose. Shout out to Kellen Moore, who was once with the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys now becoming what the Tampa Bay Buccaneers used to be. We ship you out, and then the next year you win a well, it wasn't the next year, but you win a Super Bowl. but nevertheless, we have to understand that we are Sirianni. Every other team, well, maybe Washington. New York will let you sit there for a little while. Washington, maybe, but Philly, if everyone else starts coming up, even in a year where you just won the year before, Philly's expectations are just unrealistic sometimes. And they may have that man on the chopping block.
Yeah, I would expect that he would be on the chopping block in a couple of years if he hadn't gone back.
Right.
If you don't have to win it, but you at least need to go back.
Don't go to the Super Bowl parade talking about back-to-back.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't
do that. Be realistic, because Saquon Barkley just ran for almost 2,000 yards, and the science of football, as we discussed in our episodes earlier, he may be 1,200 yards next year, but you still have those rookies. So make it a 3-back offense of some sort next year.
Yeah, and I'm glad speaking of Barkley, I'm glad for him that he got a ring, because otherwise the fact if they'd lost and you kept him from getting 2,000 yards, I mean you kept him from getting Dickerson's record. It's like, okay, that season was his season was wasted. It wasn't
a waste.
Yeah,
right.
But he is now the all-time leading rusher in the regular season combined with the postseason for a season.
He did get that one.
Yeah.
His name is up there. Now, I want to ask you this. I know he's forgotten about the game. He doesn't care about the game. He can look back on the season. But statistically, it wasn't his greatest moment. Looking at, what he did throughout the season, what he did in the playoff run. And they took him out for the Super Bowl pretty much. Would a Super Bowl MVP have made up for not breaking Eric Dickerson's record? You still get the win.
Yes, it's yes and no. Yes, because hey, you were the MVP of the Super Bowl, so that's something. But it's not a one-of-one thing. Breaking their record would have been, hey, nobody else has done this.
So he would have had to go Timmy Smith, who has a Super Bowl rushing record.
Timmy.
So he would have had to go Timmy Smith to low key kind of one of one.
Yeah.
But, I can check with that.
Yeah, but I think that I know, because I heard someone saying, Saquon didn't really have a good game. Saquon did what they needed him to do.
Right.
And the offensive coordinator, Moore, the man who had
Ezekiel
Elliott playing center on his last snap, apparently he learned. He said, hey, we're going to keep running. We're going to keep using what got us here. And Saquon didn't have big numbers, but he had carries. He was milking the clock, and he was moving the chains. He was a plugger. And because Saquon is a strong guy, he was able to do that. You got some backs who got breakaway threats and are shifty, but they can't you can't use them to eat clock and churn it out. So Saquon is versatile, and he kept the chains moving. That's all you needed him to do. You didn't need him to go and put up 100, 200 some yards. It would have been nice for him, but you didn't need that, especially going against Kansas City, whose offense is really pedestrian. You just got that number 15 back there who puts on his cape in the last few minutes of the game. Because remember, all their games this year 1-score games, and eventually that's gonna come back to bite you also. So I give him credit for sticking with the game plan, getting him the ball and saying, hey, it don't matter, and let him know. I'm sure he probably told him, Saquon, if you're not picking up yardage when we're giving it to you, it's okay. because they're keying on you, and the fact that he's being keyed on is opening up things for everybody else. It's the same way Walter Payton was used when he was in the Super Bowl against New England.
Yep.
Everywhere Payton went, they went. Yeah. Everywhere he went, the
45
Patriots went. Yeah. So sometimes being used as a decoy, or sometimes you being shut down or controlled, does just as much as if you were being dominant, because all the effort is still focus is still on you. It's not like, oh, he's not doing anything, we're gonna leave him alone. They stayed on him. Their game plan was Saquon is not gonna beat us. If Hurts can beat us, so be it. And so did be. So
Yeah. And let Mahomes and the front four give us the game. Speaking of the front four, Jones, Kansas City. Is he in the same position as Kelsey? Are we kind of looking at him? I think
he's
they
younger.
both need to hurry up and make a decision prior to the draft about what they are going to commit to, because it's time to start looking for the future for those guys.
I don't think he's ready to go yet, but somebody's gonna
It's just a
call me
long
this,
run.
that, and other. Yeah, somebody's gonna call me this, that, and other. But I've never been as overly impressed with him as some people are, and it might have been because you got Donald, who's been there, who was in with the Rams being Superman, and some of the other defensive linemen that I've seen over the years. Not that he isn't good, but he didn't pop the same way for me. He doesn't pop the same way.
You know what?
As some of those others.
I'm gonna tell you. I'm gonna tell you why you say that about him. Because he's not a week 1 through 17 guy. He shows up when the lights turn on in the playoffs. Whereas Aaron Donald was a week 1 through 17 guy. It took him a minute to become the man when the lights turn on. And so when the lights turned on, Jones made it seem like, man, this guy been doing this all season? Not really. He just was capable. And when the lights turned on, it made you think. Remember, he didn't have numbers. He was never up for Defensive Player of the Year. No one is saying he got robbed or anything. Think about it.
He's a good player, a very good player, and at times
when it's time to exactly. You know, he reminds you of Charles Haley in the sense of
okay, I see what you're saying.
He's a dominant player when those lights turn on. Week 1 through 17, you know, you're never going to see him in the running for Defensive Player of the Year, you know, or sack leader or anything like that, unless it's like it every year, and they have that expectation about him. But when those lights turn on during those playoffs, you say, "Oh my goodness, this is what he been doing all year." You know, one of those types of players. Shout out to Charles Haley. I always find a way to do a shameless plug.
For somebody who played for Dallas.
Somebody who played for the Dallas Cowboys. I should have said Charles Haley of the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, I think, but I thought it was a great effort from Philly. And I think that Philly that showed up and played like that, that's the best that Kansas City will be able to do against them if they play them again tomorrow. They just don't.
If they play them again next Sunday, you know, you'd have to go acquire. Okay, it's the season over with now. Rashee Rice's suspension is lifted, and then Tariq, can you come back right quick?
But they definitely need a running back. Kareem Hunt is not the answer. Pacheco is. He was drafted when he was for a reason. Like we always say, just like the quarterbacks who are drafted where they are for a reason. And you know, you got some gems, some diamonds in the rough that come out and produce, but generally, guys get drafted about where they should be.
I think, and I'm gonna bring up two names for you since we're on that. I think they should have, Andy Reid and company should have thought ahead, because they knew this last season. They should have thought ahead and got them a mercenary for hire, and got them a LeGarrette Blount or a playoff Lenny, just for that reason. I was just to sit you down until playoff time. Get you tuned up around week 15, 16.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got a good record. We don't need you, and then I'm gonna get you tuned up. I think they should have been preparing for that load, because what those defensive tackles from Philly needed, they didn't get punched in the mouth. They did the punching in the mouth.
Yeah.
And once you make that line bend, that's it. Now I got a question, man. 44-20. You said at one time it was 30-0. 37-3. Not a very exciting Super Bowl.
Other than the anticipation that Mahomes would catch fire in the second half, but no,
other than the anticipation that Mahomes would catch fire in the second half, the week leading up, and Jameis Winston and his
what's your favorite color?
interview. What's your favorite color? Not a very exciting Super Bowl in New Orleans. This Super Bowl, in a sense, probably won't go down as one of the most memorable for the game itself. And with the opportunity for it to go down as one of the most memorable for the halftime show, it looks as if there are mixed reviews about it, and that in itself may not be as memorable as they want it to be. So, shout out to Kendrick Lamar and his Super Bowl halftime show. Prior to that, congratulations, on your Grammys and all of that. But it's not that type of show right now. So I really want to get your opinion on the halftime show itself. And I don't know if you've been following, but all of this, chaos around the halftime show. All the different debates and opinions. What do you think?
Let me say this first. I'm not a Kendrick Lamar fan as far as, he got something out. I didn't know he'd been around 15 years, but I'm not.
That says a lot.
Yeah, because I'm just not like a fan. I know, of course, the biggest song, like him and Drake. I know that one. I've heard when they sampled Luther. I can't believe they sampled Luther. And some stuff you just don't do.
Right.
Yeah. But also the thing from the song from Black Panther. I know that one. Oh, but I liked and I appreciated the choreography. I appreciated the imagery, the art, the fact that he had a message. And
did you catch it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, when I was watching, I was like, okay. And using Samuel L. Jackson like that.
The whole PlayStation.
Yeah.
Okay.
PlayStation, the flag divided. All of that. I mean, I thought it was great for what he did and for what he was trying to do. And I gave it a B. And part of that is probably because, hey, if I was like a fan, I would probably be like, oh yeah, it's an A. But for people, a lot of people say, well, it was a message. Yes, but at the same time, I appreciate what he did. But at the same time, the Super Bowl halftime is generally, it's for entertainment. So for the people that got it, it was for you. People that didn't get it, it was really for you. The ones who didn't get it, because you're the ones missing as far as the message of what he was trying to put out. But most people want to see somebody or something that's entertaining and not artistic like that, where they have to kind of think and wait a minute, that was deep. But like the PlayStation controller that he did, then it goes into the jail cells. No, I mean the whole thing. And
the whole prison yard.
Yeah, the prison yard. Yeah, I thought it was excellent. It was truthfully, that would be what you would call performance art.
And see,
And so I appreciate that, but it would have been, if some people are mad just because they don't like them, or some people are offended because of the message, because it made you look at yourself. Some vote, but people want to see something entertaining, get you up and moving and stuff instead of thinking. It's kind of like in the New Edition movie when the manager's saying, "What is this? You got a DJ? You got the castle?
you got
We can't afford
Castle,
all
right,
this."
right, right.
Yeah, people come, they want to see a nice friendly pop show. I don't know about this rap stuff, if it's gonna be around 20 years, and people don't want to say, they come to see a nice friendly pop show. That's what people want to see when they tune into the Super Bowl for his halftime. But I don't have an issue with what he did. And I think that it was he made a statement, and it was like, hey, I might not never have this big an audience again. I'm gonna do so. I love the fact that you didn't have to bleep out every other word. I love the fact that the women on stage weren't, I
They were
don't want
fully
to say half.
clothed.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say half naked, because these days it's 1/4 naked. I mean,
Right, 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 right,
yeah. So
right.
I appreciated that. It was
But
performance
they needed
art.
to be a full red stripe though,
Yeah.
a white stripe
So
and blue.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I liked it. I mean, the people who were complaining, talking about it was the worst show ever, whatnot. They didn't get it, or they said, "Hey, I want something that was just gonna be just entertaining and have me up and dancing and stuff." But
I gotta think about that. Um,
I gave him a B.
I agree with everything you said. With everything you said. Artistry, very visual. Yeah, and this is not me knocking him, but I think you said he'd been around 15 years.
Yeah.
This all began. Just to be honest, this all began, and this run he's on all began because another man for whom his is now his op, as the kids say, or nemesis, was on this prolific tour. Different types of songs or whatever. But you're watching a man go on this long run in this tour because he has performance songs.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of things that I did hear people say, and these people are entitled to their opinion, is I didn't hear what he was saying. So it's almost like, even with all these visual arts and even with all these things you're doing, if I don't know your music, I still need to be in this era of music. I still need to have the ability to see you perform.
Yeah.
And I go download you because I hear you vocally. And then if you're sending messages, I'm sorry, but I heard Melly Mel give me the message.
Yeah.
Vocally. If you're saying something so deep and so profound, you need to also carry on as an orator. All those different voices and all those things you're doing, you need to figure out how to have a live show with that as well. All the mumbling, you don't want to be speaking to the choir, because now you have the masses looking at you, and you want to touch them with your message to go along with all the visual art. You need to vocally pull that out too. Like I was telling someone, The Wiz was a social political movie with a whole lot of messages throughout the movie. But the entertainment side of The Wiz, the entertainment side of the play, the entertainment side of The Color Purple, who also had a lot of social political messages, you still entertain and touch the soul of the person that just wants to be entertained, and then move them into the edutainment. Shout out to KRS-One side of it. And I didn't see, or I didn't see Kendrick do that. And then I don't like the way, social media is attempting to deny that fan their right to be entertained. Mm-hmm. And then you're telling them because you didn't get the message, it went over your head. First of all, read the room, sir. It's the Super Bowl. It's America's understood day off. I have spent my first half drinking booze. You're doing a show in the booze capital of America. Now you want me to go halftime and get all cerebral right now? I don't have no time for that. Like, if this is what you wanted me to do, I would have went to Goodwill and got me one of those corduroy blazers. I went to Plato's Closet. We would have dimmed the lights a little bit. We would have went to Starbucks coffee, played some low music, and snapped our fingers. You know, with a little bit of poetry in there as well. It wasn't you as much as you wanted to do what you want to do, and this was your show. You still have to have a level of respect to your audience and figure out how to be enough of a performer to give everybody what they want and satisfy it. And I think it kind of shows to the type of music he has as to why he felt that level of, I need to tell the world who I am to this guy.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm still telling the world who I am to this guy. You know, on this platform while I give this message of, I'm just blacker than you.
Yeah, I just, like I said,
we got the message.
Yeah.
Vocally, it just wasn't that great.
Yeah, and people, and also the talent, lack thereof, that's out there these days. It don't take a whole lot to stand out and look like, oh man, you know.
There you go.
If you're being honest, and I'm not, and like I said, I give it a B. I give it a strong B.
Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this for 2 seconds. I don't mean to cut you off, but we know you old school. We Tank gonna give homage to old school all day long. I was bored with it because I mentioned Melly Mel. I mentioned KRS-One, Public Enemy, X-Clan, Poor Righteous Teachers, Ice Cube, Tupac. I heard a message 30 years ago, man. I heard a message 30 years ago. Kendrick, you 5 years old when Rodney King got beat. You 5 years old on the LA riots.
Mm-hmm.
What exactly have we had physically to deal with since that time to where you are that militant? You
George Floyd. It would have been the George Floyd.
It would have been George Floyd?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
We'll give you George Floyd. We'll give you George Floyd and go down there in Savannah. Maybe some Trayvon.
Yeah.
Maybe some Trayvon. You know, but it even to that degree, and I'm not being dismissive of any of that. Even with what we dealt with in the 90s, what they dealt with in the 60s, like you have not had that level of trauma to be recycling that message.
Yeah,
we already heard it. You know what I'm saying? I guess this generation need to have their guy, and I get that, but I've already heard it. That's why I'm kind of like, you know.
Yeah, and for me, like you said, like read the room, and if he would have thrown a little more in that was, like you say, that entertaining to get people moving, it would have worked, because the people who, of course, we got many more millions of people watching it on TV as opposed to that's in attendance. But you're really but the people that's in attendance, they're there. They want to see. Yeah, they want to see something.
Let me say A minor with you.
Yeah.
Cool.
You know, you want to see something like, man, is he going to do something that's going to get me up and get me hyped? Because especially this game, if we want to be honest, this game up to halftime, it's been boring unless you was a Philly fan. Other than that, the game was boring.
The game was boring, and anticipation of the halftime show. And let's go back. And we're not knocking Kendrick. We're just trying to like, you know, speak to the. I want to speak to the realm of every aspect and fan who saw it. No, you don't. And I just feel like I don't want to excuse him with, it's his show. He can do what he want to do. He's militant. You didn't mess the room. You didn't read the room. But even the best show. Let's talk about this for a second. Even the best halftime show, which was Prince to me. Prince paid homage to the city of Miami with the colors. When it went back to Miami, the Cuban musician side of it came out. I personally feel like, you shouldn't be in a cultural city such as New Orleans and forget their culture.
Yeah.
You see walking in New Orleans knowing they bounce. I mean, I'm just saying, like this is me.
Yeah, even if you mix it up, even if you mix it up entirely, and something that had nothing to do with any of the stuff you're doing, he could have brought out Lou Vega to do Mambo number 5 for 30 or 45 seconds.
Harry Connick Jr. You could have did an acapella. You could have did that acapella part in front of your little prison guys, and had Harry Connick Jr. playing the piano. Like you. I'm not telling you how to do your show.
Yeah.
But you didn't do that in a city that doesn't have a high level of influence and culture.
Musical culture.
Yeah, musical culture.
I mean, because I know everybody was talking about Lil Wayne should. I don't want to hear Lil Wayne. His brain fried. I don't want to hear it or see him out there. He probably can't remember his own lyrics. But like you said, there's a whole bunch of other people there that
I didn't even mention Lil Wayne. Even though it's credible, I didn't see what and that's what I'm getting. I'm getting at the New Orleans culture.
Yeah. It goes on. And I mean, he could have had the purple, gold, and green on that he was wearing. He could have worn a jacket that had some of that in it.
You so political, and you so woke. That's the sugarcane slavery area, Louisiana Purchase. But y'all so deep and well read. Sounded to me like you did the Cliff Notes for your own personal venture, into trying to say what you're saying about the masses, and that's the Sony PlayStation and the people playing the game with our head. They've been playing the game with our head, and you're right. You are right there in the culture of where those games began. You have a whole. If you want to be deep, you really want to be deep. You got a whole Creole society of brown paper bagging.
Yeah, he could have. I think everybody that does the Super Bowl halftime, everybody does Super Bowl halftime. The city that is being held in, I think they need to pay some homage. To that. It can be entertainer. It can be something that they wear.
Even when it was in LA, exactly. Even when it was in LA, I understood what Dre did as far as that culture.
Yeah.
I didn't need Serena.
Yeah, because I know we like, was that Serena? And and she crip walking, and it was like, and I mean, he went and dug in and took another dig at Drake on international television. I mean,
and you married Miss Williams. That was petty. I'm kind of with Stephen A. Smith. Like you still got to troll your ex.
Yeah, that was petty.
That was kind of petty.
That was petty.
I get it. It was on the X part of the control.
Yeah.
But that's the personal side. But I just want to, for all of these people that are woke.
Yeah.
You have Beignet, Voodoo. It was a whole lot for your imagery and artistry as you are, sir. And all y'all so deep telling me about a message. There was so many ways you could have gone to capture the essence. Ooh, did I just say that?
Yeah, he definitely could have. I mean, even our background for our photos, the show is called No Jazz, but you look at the logo and you look at our background.
I'm glad you noticed that.
Yeah, but I think
that's a play on to the art of jazz.
Yeah.
You know, you have one of the, and I just mentioned it. You have one of the biggest festivals for women. You know, if you wanted somebody to go deep into what Drake did to her and respect for the black woman,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Ebony Essence, and Serena could have been your cover model. It wasn't that deep.
Yeah. And we're not saying that he didn't do a good job and it was horrible, but we're just saying there's some things that he could have done to really make it appeal to the masses instead
To the
of just
masses.
song. Because if he done that, I don't know, it might work. It might still do it, but he could have possibly gained a new fan base.
And remember, ladies, for all of your comfort and round the house wear, lingerie, comfy clothes, make sure you visit quickvisits.com. That's QUIKVISITS.com. For all of your lounge wear, lingerie wear, sport wear, workout wear, athletic wear, make sure you go to quickvisits.com. They'll be there for you, and you'll love that. I tell you.
If he done it, I don't know. He might have anyway.
Yeah,
but
and I don't know exactly. I don't know who turned him down, but it's almost like I highly doubt. I highly doubt. You know, one of your biggest games that's in New Orleans. You know, and your message is all this blackness. You don't include Southern and Grambling. You know, I'm just trying to figure out. You know, but that's a testament to where you from. You from out west. You're not from the South.
He could have done, truthfully, if he could have done, the Super Bowl is out west again next year. What he could have done,
next year.
They could have used it to do that.
You could have got that same platform next year.
Yeah, but
you know,
but you know, hey, some people are gonna say we sound like we get off my lawn, guys, but we're not telling we're not telling anybody to get off the lawn. We're just saying some other things, and like again, neither one of us has said that he didn't do a good job of that show.
Exactly.
What he did wasn't good.
Neither one of us has said that. I would have, you know, we have given him all kinds of props for having the women fully clothed. I still love to see the parade of beads. Mm-hmm. You know, just the culture. You can't.
And you know, then again, if you don't know anything about the culture,
if you don't study and you don't have any respect for it, mm-hmm. then you're going to alleviate it for your message, which is a message that could have been on the Grammys. If you ask me, that was a message for the Grammys. That might have been a message for the Oscars, and that might have been a message that you use pre-game. Before the game.
Now, if someone were to ask him to appear on any of those shows that you just mentioned, and told him, "Hey, you do what you want to do," and he were to come out and do that, it will be even more fitting. And again, I like the fact that they didn't have to bleep everything out.
You know, he got a song, because you don't really know. You know, he got a song called "The Black of the Beard."
Never heard of it.
Didn't even play it. So I'm like, but at any rate, it has been one of those shows, because that's really what was going on with the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. Look for us coming up in a few weeks. We're going to get a little bit more into, because we actually really did, and we could have went on to it, but it was football related, having those hit refresh moments in regards to that. But I am going to allow, I ain't gonna say allow, but I'm just gonna probably want to back it up. Last words, 2024-25 football season.
I thought it was a good season. You know, like I said earlier, I did predict that the Eagles were going to win the Super Bowl this year. So, unfortunately, I didn't put any money on it, so I ain't winning nothing. But, hey, I think it was a great season. It worked out well. I think the cream rose to the crop, and I think that we might be looking at a slight decline from KC because they do have weaknesses that they've had all year, but they were able to. But Mahomes covers a multitude of sins. Yesterday he wasn't capable, but I think we might be looking at another team that rises up for the next couple of years in the AFC who's really, and then because Andy Reid said that he's going to commit to at least one more year. So that it could be 2 years and he's gone. Then it depends on who they bring in as the coach and what philosophy they're going to use and how that gels with Mahomes to see if he ends up having another run. Because people are going to hold it because if they had won, they were going to they want to try to stamp him as GOAT. I can't give him that until he can have all these other numbers and stats, but until you beat the rings, you were great, but there was somebody else who was greater. So chill on the GOAT noise for Mahomes right now anyway, not because oh you lost, but just he's still young. He hadn't even hit 30 yet. And I believe he's going to play till at least he's 38. So we're going to see how the second half of his career goes.
Absolutely. Now, going off that, I'm just going to be short. Shout out to Brett Veach. It's a great run. Shout out to Howie Roseman, who has taken his name up off the paper champion board and put it into the champion board. And I know we like to say this, and I'm just going to close right here. They say defense wins championships. Offense scores points. I'm going to get away from selling tickets. Offense scores points. But good franchises, they make dynasties. And if you want to become a dynasty, you have to be a GM that's really willing to go all in. But sometimes you got those GMs that go out like Kendrick Lamar and say, regardless of what you say, I'm just going to do what I want to do. And on that note,
talk about a not so subliminal.
And on that note, I thank you all for joining us. I want you all to make sure you go to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, comment, email us. YouTube, No Jazz Show. X, No Jazz Show. TikTok, No Jazz Show. Y'all so fun. Facebook, No Jazz Show. Instagram, NOJ. Follow, subscribe, share, like, comment. I thank you. Please, we're trying to get up to 50,000 subscribers in the off season. Look for us. We're going to be buzzing and bubbling and still coming regardless. Watch out for No Jazz. Hit refresh. It's all here. And that's pretty much it. I thank you all for joining us. Tank, go ahead and salute the people.
Till next week.
Till next week. Have a good one. You just watched another episode of No Jazz. Follow us on YouTube at No Jazz Show. And make sure you hit us up on Twitter at No Jazz Show. Make sure you hit us up on Instagram at noj.a.s.s. Follow us on Facebook, on our Facebook page at No Jazz Show. All right? See you soon.